Hello, good people. Well, hello. Happy Valentine's Day. Vanessa, what do you want to tell the people?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you who are not in any type of romantic relationship, I want to wish you a happy Galentine's Day. Okay,
Oh,
so that is where you celebrate. Women are celebrating their friendships with each other. So this day is not just for lovers, this day is for everyone.
awesome. So I'm Dr. Laria, as you know, and we're back today. This is the second Monday of February. And so we want to just have another conversation, another Access Rumor Time conversation today. Our topic is going to be on self management skills, connecting and belonging in everyday experiences. Connecting and belonging in everyday experiences. Um, as we let me find my PowerPoint here to give you the definition. And here we have Dr. G. So that's perfect. Dr. G, introduce yourself quickly and we will.
Well, greetings, everyone. I am Dr. G, Dr. Geneva Fleming. Bring you greetings. I'm looking forward to learning in this discussion today. I'm just zooming from one class to a Rumor Time, Access Rumor Time conversation. So I'm glad to be here, Dr. Laria, Miss Kelly Brew.
All right.
Glad to
Yes,
see you here, Dr. G.
yes.
Yes. So I am going to share my screen here and just pull up this definition of what we're going to talk about today. All right. So, GC Squad believes in educating, equipping, and empowering.
Mhm.
All right. We actually believe in another E, engaging.
Mhm.
Engaging, educating, equipping, and empowering. All
Mhm.
right. And so today we're going to talk about self management skills. And it is our definition is that it is your ability to use your awareness of your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions to choose what you say and what you do in order to positively direct your behaviors, goals, purpose, dreams, and outcomes.
Mhm.
All right. I know I added some more there. But that's what we do, right? That is what we believe self management skills are. Your ability to use your awareness of your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions to choose what you say and what you do in order to positively direct your behaviors, your goals, your purpose, your dreams, and your outcomes.
Mhm.
All right. So, with that in mind, we we looked for the definition, some other definitions of self management and other quotes. One of the quotes that I found from the book of wisdom, the Bible, one of the books of wisdom, the Bible, and it specifically talks about that word self control. And it was found in Second Timothy 1:7. And it starts off, and most people might be, who believe in the Bible would know this scripture. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity or cowardice or fear, but He has given us a spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind
Mhm.
and listen to this, self control.
Mhm.
Self control. The ability to stay, to that results, abilities that result in calm, a well balanced mind, calm spirits, and a sense of self control.
Mhm.
And Vanessa, you had another one. You had another one.
Uh, yeah, so one of the quotes that I really enjoy is a quote. that just says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Okay?
Right.
So
Right.
whatever your thoughts are, your mindset, that is who you are.
Mm,
Right.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
so, yeah. And there's this author who he's the author of a book called As a Man Thinketh. His name is James Allen. He gives another quote. He gives a quote. Self-control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power.
Mhm,
Right. So
mhm,
that's James Allen's interpretation of self-control, self-management. Okay, so remember what we're talking about today is self-management skills and connecting and belonging in everyday experiences. So self-management skills. Here's another biblical reference, and that is James, the book of James, chapter 3, verse 2. It says, "We all fail in many areas, but especially with our words.
mhm,
Yet if we are able to bridle the words we say, we are powerful enough to control ourselves in
mhm,
every way. And
mhm,
that means our character is mature and fully
mhm,
developed. All right. So,
mhm,
again, if you're able to control your words,
mhm,
if you're able to manage what you speak, right, what you say, then you are exhibiting, you have the strength to be able to um, manage everything else in your life.
mhm.
Okay, manage everything else in your life. Do you have any input on this, Dr. G?
It's all good, and it's so uh, it's so vitally essential. Interesting. I was just sharing some about the social emotional competencies in my class today, and just honing in on the importance of awareness, being aware. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, I was scrolling through because I know this is not a Bible based conversation, but
No.
lots of scriptures that focus on
Mm-hmm.
self control. And I was looking for the one that labels fruit self control as a fruit of the spirit, and
Mm-hmm.
so our inner self. Today we were talking about roots and fruits, and
Mm-hmm.
so, we think about self control being a fruit. So, what type of root would that require for self
Right.
control? And Vanessa said something very important. The scripture that she mentioned, as a man thinketh.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as we have stated countless time,
Mm-hmm.
behind every behavior is a belief. So
Right.
we talked about thought, what a thought is, and how that thought becomes a mindset. So how every piece matters in terms of
Right.
contributing to how we control the
Okay.
the extent to which we control. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. I know you jumped on and you know how to go with the flow. So we
Boy,
appreciate that.
yes.
So here's something. Here's how I want to set this up. We as humans, we've
Mhm.
all said, you know, I was just raised that way. I can't help myself.
That's
Uh,
just how I am. That's just
that's
who
just
I
how I am. That's who I am. You know, that's my mother did it, my grandmother did it, my tanty did it, my nenen did it. For those of you in the Caribbean, you know what I mean by nenen. Um, you know, it's just in my DNA. That's just how that's
am.
just me. That's just me. I
That's
can't
just
help it.
me. Hear that
Right.
often.
And then you also hear, um, well, if she had done this, then I would not have hit her, or I would not have,
Mhm.
you know, done whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So what we're doing, what this is setting up here is that the ability to manage oneself, one's thoughts, one's
Mhm.
interactions, mindsets, and emotions happen from something outside of oneself. It
Mhm.
happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
right? Something happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
And what we read earlier, the different references to the scripture says that we have within us, it's a God given thing,
Mm-hmm.
quality that we have that says you have been given a
Mm-hmm.
spirit or an ability to exercise self control,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those two things are in opposition. The person who says, "Oh, yeah, I can control myself. I don't know how, everybody did it, and that's who I am." And then the scriptures are saying it was given to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an issue here of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's an issue here of mindset and self-management skills.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
here's my question for our viewing and listening audience. How does your belief or your mindset about your ability to control you,
Mm-hmm.
how does that influence your thoughts, your actions,
Mm-hmm.
what you believe,
Mm-hmm.
and your emotions
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to self-management skills? How does it, I'm going to read it again. How does your mindset or beliefs about your ability to control you, remember today we're talking about self-management,
Mm-hmm.
how does their ability to control you influence your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, emotions as it relates to self-management? Let's jump in. Vanessa, what do you want to say?
Well, the thing that I am thinking is that for those people who um, will respond, that's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Or if this person had not done X, I would not have done,
Mm-hmm.
Y or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that does is put that person in a position of not being responsible for his or her own actions, but
Mm-hmm.
rather shifting that responsibility onto someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts them in a place of weakness where they feel like they don't have power
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
control over their own actions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. Thanks for sharing that, Vanessa. And the first point that comes to my mind is how vitally important. I'm so glad that education is primary, in the work that we do. It is so important for people to be informed, to be educated, to be knowledgeable about the fact that they do have an internal ability to control this. Because here's this, the issue is it's prevalent and it continues because those beliefs came out of soil, right? What type
Mm-hmm.
of soil? They may have been raised in an environment where there was no accountability. There was no helpful source or resource to inform them of a healthier way to be, to inform them that they do have the ability,
Mhm.
to make responsible decisions, to choose how they think, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so perhaps they're not right. It's not true, but it may be a fact. So it may be a fact that that's just who I am. That's me. But
Mm-hmm.
without consideration that perhaps me is out of balance. Perhaps
Mm-hmm.
the who I am can be improved. It can be better. It's not the
Yes.
best version of yourself.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but that individual then needs information. They need to be educated
Mhm.
on
Mm-hmm.
then how they need to learn about that internal ability. They need to
Mm-hmm.
learn that. They need to know. They may surprise themselves that they have that ability.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what we want to continue talking about then is how how does one have a mindset shift? Because if what we're saying is that the ability to control one's thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions
Mhm.
is rooted and grounded
Mhm.
in mindset.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So how could we help individuals? How could we help individuals have a mindset shift?
Wow.
Well, you know what, Dr. Larry, the first thing that I'm thinking is that a person has to be open and
Mm-hmm.
willing to, see that maybe how they are thinking or how they are responding or behaving,
Mm-hmm.
um, that it is possible, to be in control of your own emotions. So it
Mm-hmm.
starts with a willingness, and being open to uh, being educated, like you were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that there are other ways of
Mm-hmm.
responding.
Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
good. There are other ways of responding. So wouldn't somebody good point. Good
Yes.
point. Wouldn't someone, first of all, though, also have to be able to recognize?
That is what I was going to add, Dr.
Absolutely.
Laria, is
Uh-huh.
uh, yeah, before the willingness is the need to recognize.
Hmm.
And then, the average person may not give thought to what a mindset is. So, as you're talking about mindset, I have
Mm-hmm.
my lunch next to me here in my office. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm munching on grapes, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, so a person would have to recognize, we talk about a thought is like a grape, is one grape. But
Mm-hmm.
a mindset, let me pull this out of my bag,
There's a cluster.
is a
Perfect.
cluster of thoughts. So,
Yes.
so a person has to first recognize, is this a helpful thought or a harmful thought? And
Exactly.
then they have to start, if they recognize that it's not helpful, then they have
Mm-hmm.
to start shifting, doing away, recognizing that it exists, is contributing
Hmm.
to harmful behavior. So then they
Mm-hmm.
have to whittle away at changing
Mm-hmm.
that mindset. So it really, 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 really does start with the ability to recognize that a thing
Right.
is helpful or harmful.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and this is how the RUMERTIME process builds on each other, and it's also not just building and moving in one direction. It is cyclical. It goes around and it comes back and it goes around because every plot is critical to being able to be, again, as Geneva said, to be the best version of yourself. So in order for you to be able to manage yourself, right, and remember the definition we talked about earlier, is your ability to use your what, awareness, your ability to use your awareness of your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions to choose what you say and what you do in order to positively move you forward, direct your behaviors, goals, your purposes, your dreams, and your vision and the outcomes, right? So that is what is critical. Before you could manage, you have to be aware,
Mhm.
right? And so in the management of yourself, how do we then, like I said earlier, how are we going to help someone? How are we going to help someone have that mindset shift? And so we will come back. I want to show you this video of how the Listening Oasis Wellness Space helps individuals across the globe to, within their own context, to have a mindset shifts. Okay. So if we can get the video with Hanaya's story, we're going to show this video with Hanaya's story, and we'll see some of the comments in the meantime, and talk about those when we, after this short video. Hello, my friends. I want to just share a quick story with you about the impact that the Listening Oasis Wellness Space, or LOWES, has across the globe. So our wellness champion, Fatima, she is working with a 25-year-old Muslim female. Her name, we are going to use her name to be Hanaya, from northern Pakistan. And Hanaya, lives in a region known for oppressing the basic rights of women. And Hanaya belongs to a patriarchal society where women are not allowed to speak up for themselves or even talk about mental health. So Hanaya learned about Lowe's through another Rumerizee, previously received services from us, social emotional wellness support from us. At first, so Hanaya reached out. At first, she was a little scared of talking with one of our wellness champions, but she was most concerned about the fact that if she was found talking with us, with an outsider, about her mental health, they may take her phone away from her. So she would talk in hushed tones in her closet. Hanaya was being pushed into an unwanted marriage. There was somebody else that she loved, and she also wanted to complete her college degree. And so Hanaya's situation created her feelings of sadness and being stressed out, anxiety and unhappiness. And Hanaya could then, after spending time with our wellness champion, Fatima, she was able to then rumorize her thoughts, her interactions, mindsets, and emotions, even while hiding out in her closet. And she was so motivated. She came every week in spite of the possible danger to herself and her well-being. As a Rumerizee, Hanaya was able to recognize her time, her thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions. And while Fatima, our wellness champion, wasn't able to change Hanaya's circumstances, Fatima was able to educate Hanaya, equip her, and empower her with the skills necessary to explore her own well-being, her problem-solving skill set. And so we're really doing an amazing work across the globe. And so we want to invite you to become a GC scored monthly or annual donor to help individuals like Hanaya, and also to help us train more wellness champions like Fatima. So we're on a mission to make social emotional wellness support accessible to every individual locally and globally. And you will see on the screen where you can donate and where you can reach us. So thank you again. God bless. All right. So yes, hopefully you would be inspired to help individuals across the globe make self-management skills a part of who they are, right? A part of who they are. Make this RUMERTIME process a part of who they are. We are changing lives. We are helping to change mindsets. One person at a time, one rumor at a time. All right, so we have some comments in the chat. Let's see. Before we continue on, I see Kalisha and I see Marilyn Robb. Hi, Marilyn, giving you a shout out. She said, Marilyn says, another important step would be to identify what is holding the mindset in place. Absolutely, absolutely. Naomi says, recognition is definitely the most important piece in changing. Yes. And Kalisha says the same thing,
Mhm,
recognizing is the first step. Having a mindset requires honesty. A mindset
mhm,
shift requires honesty.
mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Definitely, we have to have. I want to speak to Marilyn's point. Another important step would be to identify what is holding the mindset in place. And
mhm,
so, part of the rumor time process, as you are able to, when you're doing the recognizing, right?
mhm,
Recognizing or identifying. That's our first step in the rumor time process is
mhm,
to recognize. The R is for recognize. So you're recognizing your thoughts, your
mhm,
interactions, your mindsets, and your emotions. And so that would, when you're identifying, Marilyn, the next step, that is the interaction, right? What is holding the mindset in place? What are the things that are holding it in place? And we talked in preparation for our show today, we talked about environmental factors.
mhm,
We talked about biological factors.
mhm.
We talked about social factors. And in if you get a chance, anybody gets a chance, go on our website and you will see the CSS framework diagram, and it will give you a broader understanding,
Mhm,
broader and deeper understanding of this framework. So
mhm,
if you will go to there's the website address on the screen right now. So what we do, and in answering this question, Marilyn, we look at not just the individual,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
We're not just looking at what is holding the individual
mhm,
to have a harmful mindset
mhm,
that makes him or her believe that things happen to them and they have no control over it. So we look at, like I said, biological, we look at environmental, we look at social, we look at systemic,
mhm,
okay? And so we know this is Black History Month.
mhm.
And one of the things in America, anyway, that has been a major focus over the last 2 years, even more so, is systems of oppression, systems of exclusion, systems of inequities, right? And so individuals individuals are saying experiencing a lack of systemic support because they're excluded. They don't feel like they belong. They're not connected. Okay? They are not connected. And so when we are working with mindsets and what are some of the things that's holding it in place, all of those factors hold it in place.
Yes.
All of those factors hold it in place. And so if we were to bring it home, how what are some ways that, again, what are some ways we can help individuals now that we know that mindset has to be addressed before people can manage?
Mhm,
That, at least that's one of the things, right? They have to
mhm,
also address their thoughts and their
mhm,
emotions.
mhm,
But we're
mhm.
focusing on mindsets right now with this question. In on a day to day, every day, because that's our topic, right? In everyday experiences, how do mindsets, how does a person's mindset regarding their ability to manage themselves or have this discipline or self control, how does that impact them in everyday experiences as it relates to connecting and belonging? How does that happen?
Mhm, mhm. So many factors. I'm seeing, and then
Oh,
you
yes.
said there are so many factors influencing our mindsets. That's true. I'll just read what Naomi
Yeah,
just
read them.
posted.
Yeah, yeah.
Recognizing, again, there's that word, recognizing those factors play an intricate part in changing mindsets, beginning first with the thoughts, interactions that created the mindsets. in the first place, beginning and with emotions that created them in the first place. Okay, it,
Mm-hmm.
there was an add-on statement there, and yeah, it's identifying that perhaps there is an issue. Um, I like to use the term peeling the onion skins back. So where's that issue coming from? Recognizing is it something within me or outside of me? You know, recognizing if there's something I can do about it or cannot do anything about it. So it depends. You laid out a marvelous ecosystem that we all are a part of, and
Mm-hmm.
those systems, and there are systemic things that can
Mm-hmm.
contribute to thought processes that lends itself to a mindset.
Right.
But for the individual, there needs to be a recognition of, of the thing, whatever it is. Um, Again, is it my way of thinking and believing, or what has contributed to my way of thinking and believing? Then so how do I respond to that? Is it something I could just peel the covers off and I'm free from it, in one peel?
Right.
Or is it something that's going to require legislative response through, elected officials?
Right.
So it depends on the thing, like
Mm-hmm.
the what it is,
Okay.
that is
Okay.
impacting an
Practicing.
individual, right?
Okay.
But again, it
That's
starts with recognition, right? You got to
right. You need to
recognize what it
recognize.
is.
Yeah. And so, Vanessa, as we were preparing again, you gave, because I want to bring this to I want to bring this even closer home to all of us, right?
Mhm.
I want the viewing audience and the listening audience to also be thinking about what are some of their mindsets surrounding being able to manage themselves, to control themselves. And it's going to be different in different contexts, right? So like if you're at home, you may feel like you have more ability to manage yourself, um, as opposed to if you're at work, you may feel less ability to manage yourself. So I want the listening audience, viewing audience to think about that. But Vanessa, you shared a story earlier today about someone who felt when they were growing up they didn't have any control.
Mhm. Mhm.
Why don't you elaborate on that? Share that story.
Yeah, sure. So I was having a conversation with one of my friends about um, when she was younger, and just being very aware and impacted by what other people thought of her. So much so that she really was living her life to really please other people. So she was worried about how they saw her as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then, based on what she believed they thought about her, then that is how she acted, how she responded. Um, but what happened is, as she has gotten older, now, she has come to recognize that it does not matter to her now what other people think about her. Because now she is more concerned about trying to live a more authentic life, trying to be the person that she wants to be. And so that is the question for me, is what happens to people? How do people make those shifts?
Mm-hmm.
Those shifts in their mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if anybody in the audience, any of our viewers, want to respond to that question, or try to respond to that question. um I see Naomi wrote something here. She said, set for ourselves, strengthen those mindsets that become a form of survival in our world, whether positively or negatively influenced. Yeah. And so that's what we talked about, right? There could be two. two children in a home growing up.
Mhm.
The parent or the parents are in different phases of their own development.
Mhm.
Um, and usually, until a child leaves the home, the influence of their parents is the most. They
Mhm.
may not always appreciate it, but that is the influence that is most prominent,
Mhm.
right? Then we know when we know also that school is another influence, another stimuli.
Mhm.
Then we know social media, we know community engagements.
Mhm.
If they go to church or temple or any type of worship,
Mhm.
that community is also a source of influence. And so
Mhm.
all of these factors help to develop our mindsets. You remember that cluster of grapes that
Mhm.
Geneva, you still have those grapes or you
I
ate them all?
do. I do. Yes.
Right, right. And so all of that. So every grape on there can be representative of the different systems, the
Mhm.
different ecosystems that influences the mind, the mindset.
Mhm.
Then you have so that mindset, that cluster of grapes, then informs how we interact.
Mhm.
It informs whether we believe, you know, if we have control or if the control happens to us,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So those are the places where mindsets are formed, mindset
Mhm.
surrounding my ability to manage myself.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so if we have, let's say, like I was saying earlier, this person, she grew up in this environment. She was getting messages that, what she needed to do and how she needed to do it is has to be in a certain way.
Mhm.
But then she became an adult where she could make her own decisions
Mhm.
and had to unlearn, relearn, and
Mhm.
even learn some
Mhm.
new ways of believing, which is
Mhm.
mindset, and some new ways of interacting,
Mhm.
some new ways of emoting. And when you add her new experiences, her new everyday experiences, all of that comes together
Mhm.
to create what people have now,
Yeah.
right? So Marilyn said what?
Then the solution is to eat the grapes one by
One by
one
one.
to get rid
Or
of them.
yeah, i.e., get rid of them. Yeah, to examine, to recognize, to identify the grapes that are tasty and helpful,
Mhm.
and the grapes that are
Mhm.
sour
Mhm.
and harmful,
Mhm.
right?
Right. So you want to get rid of the sour grapes, not the
Mhm.
sweet ones. So every thought is not about getting rid of every thought because they are helpful thoughts that you want
Hmm.
to maintain to
Hmm.
grow. You want to grow those helpful thoughts,
Hmm.
um, and and just the opposite. If they're not helpful, yeah, you want to get rid of them.
Yeah, yeah. So what makes us, your friend Vanessa, how do we help her and others? Because I believe me, and I'm sure you guys agree with this, all of us in different contexts struggle with self-management skills to some
Mhm.
level, at some level. And so we always have to go back to, what are we telling ourselves? What are we believing? Right? What are we believing?
Mhm.
So what do you think your friend is believing now that she may not have believed earlier in the past?
Well, what I believe that she now understands is that she does have control over her own thoughts, and that she can choose which
Mm-hmm.
grapes to keep and which grapes to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to share a story of that I had heard, because I think this kind of goes along with what Marilyn was saying and maybe some of the others in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a story about an experiment that was done with, I think it was like bamboo trees. Um, but So there were a group of scientists who planted these trees in a very controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
So they watched the tree grow. They, gave it the right amount of sunshine and water, and the trees grew very quickly, and they were beautiful. Um, and they were measuring how those trees grew in this controlled environment based on how the same type of tree grew in just a natural environment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what they realized was that these trees that grew in this very controlled environment, when there was a storm, these trees bent and they broke, versus the trees that grew in a natural environment. So the trees that grew in a natural environment, those trees were very strong and they could withstand the storm that came. And what they realized is that those trees needed all of the wind and the rain and the extreme heat from the sun so that they could be very strong and
Mm-hmm.
withstand whatever came. And so the trees that were in the controlled environment, they did not have that, which is why they bent and died.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so that goes to one of our points about um, exposure and helping individuals to develop the ability to see things differently, which is mindset. Help them develop the ability to manage, right? To manage themselves, manage their thoughts, their interactions, their mindsets and emotions. And it speaks to giving individuals, like I said, exposure, but opportunities. And this is really important, especially for, I would say, for parents. Sometimes we think, oh, let's just give them everything. I don't want my child to struggle like I did. I don't want them to, something happens at school and we don't let the student try to work it out. We try to intervene. So what we're doing is enabling disabled disabilities.
We're removing the strength,
We're
the strength.
removing, yes,
And
right?
for
We're
those of us who
removing,
focus on strength base, that
yeah,
goes against,
exactly.
that knowledge.
Exactly. And so we're removing opportunities for growth. We're removing opportunities for the experiences of life, the everyday experiences of being able to connect, disconnect, belong, understand what it does, what it feels like to not belong, so that you can then make adjustments. You can figure out, well, why am I thinking this way? you know it helps you to form mindsets. It helps you to form ways of seeing the world. When we are faced with resistance, when we are faced with opposition or obstacles or roadblocks, every roadblock should not be removed from individuals. That is not necessarily love.
True.
Yeah.
The other piece, relating this back to the story about the bamboo trees, the other piece is that sense, that piece about belonging, because bamboos depend on each other for growth. So,
Mm-hmm.
those that were in that control environment, they
Mm-hmm.
probably had limited support.
Yeah.
But if you go into the natural environment of bamboo trees, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they are there. So they are able to bow and bend, and the other ones are there. They support. It's a sense of belonging. The ones in the
Mm-hmm.
control group probably did not develop that belonging, that sense of belonging. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
like that analogy. I love the analogy of the bamboo
Yeah.
tree.
And the thing about it too is when a sense of belonging, and you may have said this, Geneva, but when you feel a sense of belonging and a sense of connectedness,
Mhm.
it gives you a sense of well-being, right? It gives you a sense of, hey, I can do this. It's like the wind beneath your wings that propels you up,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? It shifts your mindset.
Oh, Dr. Laria, what's coming to my mind right now is that works, whether it's helpful or harmful. The sense of
Exactly.
belonging, because I'm thinking about adverse behaviors and sense of belonging, like gangs, for instance,
Hmm.
gang activity. So a lot of young people themselves with gangs because it gives
Hmm.
them that sense of
It's a
belonging, and
belonging.
then they are willing to go through whatever type of initiation,
Hmm.
go shoot somebody or go rob a home or all of these negative influences just so
Hmm.
they could have a sense
The
of
belonging.
belonging.
Uh-huh.
So
Absolutely.
that's another piece that perhaps we can unpack. I don't know if we have a few minutes to unpack that, but it gets right back to recognizing whether something is helpful or harmful
Hmm.
to us.
Yeah. And I want to go here to there's so many great comments in the chat.
Mhm,
You guys
mhm,
help me read them, but I want to read Marilyn's. Marilyn is here saying, she says there are many processes and interventions to get rid of the grapes, but rumor time seems to be an effective one, and it
yeah,
is. And at
mhm,
this point, I want to ask our technical team to bring up our information on the rheumatoid prevention intervention coaching training that is getting
mhm,
ready to start
mhm.
here
Weeks.
a few weeks. Yeah, a
Mhm,
couple of weeks. So if
mhm,
you can bring that up, and then we will talk some more. We'll come back
mhm,
and talk some more about the other comments, the other
mhm.
awesome comments. This is really good discussion.
I also
Yes.
like to leave.
Have a curriculum for your child and youth development program. You're ready for them. Screech! Pump your brakes. Not so fast. Your staff, camp counselors, youth workers, VBS volunteers, teachers, coaches, mentors, etc., need to be educated, equipped, and empowered about child and adolescent social emotional development, culturally responsive interventions, culturally responsive problem solving strategies, child and adolescent mental health critical issues, how to recognize, understand, and manage issues related to family dynamics. Why does your staff need this training? Your staff needs this training because what are the benefits for the staff? They will better understand the connections between how their beliefs impact their behaviors. They will have more confidence in their support skills. They will become more socially, emotionally competent themselves. Rumor Time Prevention Intervention Coaching.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, for those of you who might be interested in the rumor time process, becoming one of our coaches, be one of the RPICs, um, training is coming up.
Mhm,
Send us an email.
mhm,
Go to the website. Send us a message. We will definitely get your information and get you hooked up.
mhm.
Because, as Marilyn says, the rumor time process seems to be an effective one, and it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we have evidence to support that it is. It is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
So let's
Mm-hmm.
see. Naomi says, wait, Kalisha says, I like the comment about
Uh-huh.
eating grapes one by one.
Yeah.
Um, did it move? I think.
It did. It goes on to say it allows you to examine closely every thought. Only then you can identify which are helpful and which are harmful.
Mhm.
Eating them one by one.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Mm.
Thanks,
Yes, yes,
Alicia.
yes.
Yes.
What did Naomi say, Geneva?
Absolutely. She said those experiences are important, and equipping those having such experiences with the tools that are necessary, the tools that will allow them to bend and not break, is empowering. Great story, Vanessa. She's
Yes,
responding to the bamboo trees,
the
the
bamboo tree
story about the
story.
bamboo trees.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yep, yep,
let's think about. Naomi says that's the reason I absolutely love the RUMERTIME process. It teaches everyone how to individually manage their own individual challenges, not manage it for them. Yes,
yep.
love this. Yes, and that's what
Yes,
it does.
Yes.
So
yes.
let's see if we can give our viewers, let's empower them with some ways of allowing themselves to experience connectedness and belongingness by having that mindset shift
Mhm,
from others having control
mhm,
over them to them having control and managing themselves. And when we say themselves, we talk about their thoughts, their interactions, mindsets, and emotions. Because a lot of times when people say, oh, be able to manage yourself, well, what does that mean?
yeah.
It means
Mhm.
finding the, within yourself, knowing what your thoughts are,
Mhm,
knowing how your thoughts influences and interacts with your
Mhm.
interactions and your
mhm,
behaviors,
mhm,
your mindsets. What do you believe? What do you
Mhm.
believe about
mhm,
your situation?
mhm,
Where you say you're in a difficult workspace,
mhm,
right? Say you're in a difficult workspace, people at work, your boss is getting on you, your colleagues are not acting collegial, you're feeling like, I need to shift, I need to change jobs. How
Mhm.
how do you exercise self-management skills in that setting? Vanessa, you
mhm.
look like you wanted to answer that question.
Well, I'll tell you what came to my mind is again, we are projecting outwards. And so the thing that came to my mind is how do you relate to yourself?
Mm,
What do you think of yourself?
mm-hmm,
Because again, what we think about ourselves, who we are, is
mm-hmm.
what we project outward.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
So,
yeah.
am I able to manage my own
mhm,
thoughts? Am I able to manage my own behaviors? Because if I
mhm,
can manage them for myself, then I
mhm,
can look outward
Mm-hmm,
to my
mhm,
other relationships.
mhm,
mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so, for me, I think the work, I believe, starts about how I interact with myself.
Mm-hmm.
mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah. And
mm-hmm,
it's for myself,
mm-hmm,
it's we've used the terms in times past to check the engine light.
mm-hmm,
So if
Mhm.
I'm in a situation and it may not be gross, but I feel I'm getting a sense of angst or uh, it's not comfortable. I'm learning to pause to see where that's coming from. So
mm-hmm,
it's identifying, why am I feeling this way, and
mm-hmm,
think about what am I doing in the moment? What just happened before I got it? Was it a phone call that was
Mhm.
disturbing? Like what it is. So trying to locate that uncomfortable feeling, whatever that might be,
mm-hmm,
and then So I have to identify it first before I can make some decisions about what I need to do about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, do I just need to pull back and
Mm-hmm.
meditate? Do I need to call someone and apologize, or to straighten something out? Like, was I misunderstood, or did I misunderstand somebody? So it
Mm-hmm.
kind of starts in a very simple, somewhat minute, but it's about recognizing this feeling. And for me, it starts on the inside, right? So it's this sort of an uncomfortable feeling
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
going on inside. And I'm talking about, it's in my head, it's in my heart, and I need to
Mm-hmm.
find out where that's coming from. So that's a level of identification or recognition that
Mm-hmm.
happens with me.
Right. Yeah. And so I guess so one of the things we from what you and Vanessa said is that we can leave our viewers with is first and foremost when you're having that experience, which we call it's a story, right? It's a story, it's one of your stories. Work sucks, your colleagues suck, your boss sucks. I mean everything just sucking. And so you are like, okay, you're getting these emotions. You're feeling, like Geneva said, uncomfortable. You're just not happy.
Mhm,
Recognizing how you are feeling in that situation, recognizing what is happening with others in that situation, and
mhm,
also recognizing the system that you're in, because sometimes when you get these emotions and these thoughts and have these mindsets, you once you start uncovering and going through your checklist of
mhm,
your thoughts, your interactions, your mindsets, emotions, you may realize that there isn't anything that you need to change.
mhm, mhm,
You start looking at the system
mhm,
and realize that there is a mismatch between what you believe, what your goals are, what your purpose is,
mhm,
and who you are. Your worldview
mhm,
is in direct opposition to the system.
mhm.
Many times we ask people to change themselves when the real thing that needs to be changed is the system.
Yeah, and that system can be family
It
system
could
as
be
well.
family
So
systems.
sometimes we think of system, we think big organization, but
Right,
Outside.
family
right.
systems,
It could
which
be
relates to the story about Vanessa's friends. So
right.
she came to that awareness.
Exactly, right, exactly. So it could be systems
Hmm.
that you have to, as part of managing your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions, you may have to remove yourself from that system or speak up, and find some tools to help you speak up so that you can be your best self and problem solve in that system. Or there may be times where you have to just remove yourself from the system and not allow the system to define you to the point where you feel disconnected and like you do not belong, because that's what happens many times,
Hmm.
is that you get to a space where your mindset starts letting you know, hey, something ain't right here.
So that's right. That's right. Check engine light.
Check engine light. Check
Mhm,
engine light. Smoke alarm. It comes to give you a message.
mhm,
Emotions, feelings have no intellect. They are directly related to your thoughts, interactions, mindsets.
mhm,
And so it's important for us to evaluate, recognize, understand.
mhm,
And then when we're managing, look at self, look at others, and look at systems.
mhm. That's right. This
Yeah.
was a wonderful conversation,
Love it.
ladies.
Yeah.
Yes. And we had so much great participation. Let's see what else anybody else said that we didn't read. I like to read everybody's comments.
Naomi is saying absolutely. I believe she's in agreement with what's being said.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
Right. So let's quickly wrap up. Oh, here's just beautiful. What about resilience in dealing with life situations, including work situations? Edward Clark, you came on, but you came on right when we have to end. But join us again on the fourth Monday. What date is
That would be
that?
the 28th of
The
February.
28th of February, where we're going to talk more about, we're going to talk about relationship management skills. And so I think that will answer your question even more. But we will always, marry these because every piece matters and is all intertwined. And so we want to just thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Um, and Edward Clark, we will get to that question. Please come on next time. Come on earlier so we can engage even more with you and all the others. So
Okay.
thank you and blessings to each of you. And we
Mhm.
will see you on the 28th.
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 Stay tuned for our closing video.
Yes.
Have a curriculum for your child and youth development program. You're ready for them. Screech! Pump your brakes. Not so fast. Your staff, camp counselors, youth workers, VBS volunteers, teachers, coaches, mentors, etc., need to be educated, equipped, and empowered about child and adolescent social emotional development, culturally responsive interventions, culturally responsive problem-solving strategies, child and adolescent mental health critical issues, how to recognize, understand, and manage issues related to family dynamics. Why does your staff need this training? Your staff needs this training because what are the benefits for the staff? They will better understand the connections between how their beliefs impact their behaviors. They will have more confidence in their support skills. They will become more socially, emotionally competent themselves. RUMERTIME Prevention Intervention Coaching.